使用该验证码验证您的手机号码，按一下继续。账号注册成功。第3步，订阅金菩提宗师频道。进入 YouTube 应用，在搜寻打出金菩提宗师，选取正确的频道。进入频道后，可以看到宗师各种精彩的开示与直播记录。记得在频道按下订阅，并开小铃铛，接收各种通知。第4步，快速看到喜欢的开示内容，点击影片，点击倒三角形符号，滑动预览，点击时间点即可。如果喜欢这些影片，请点赞、留言、分享给亲朋好友，教会您身边的亲朋好友，牵起他与宗师的缘分，法布施，功德无量。
各位亲爱的网友朋友，大家好。现在我们又到了我这个杂货铺的时间哈。今天是第15场了哈，屋里我们熬了这么久了，讲了15场了呀。啊？
我们盼了那么长时间呢。
也是太啰嗦了。这个杂货铺确实这个内容非常广泛哈。那我们前面讲的杂货铺呢，相对都是比较有主题。那我想今天呢，就照顾很多网友呢，就是说我在1节课上，我可以多认识一些东西啊。今天呢就弄得更杂。你看，这是我的柜台哈，我的杂货铺的柜台上头摆满了很多种不同的东西。但是这摆这个东西呢，你看还是以玉为主的啊，这类东西。
清雅。
对，今天也是比较杂啊。对，那这个。反正今天我们有足够的时间给大家介绍和分享啊。
好。
大家非常清楚，我不是专家，那讲的呢都是说个人所认识和理解的这个部分啊。对，也希望呢网友呢能够从中能够学到一点什么啊。
真的是学到很多。
对我们这个身边周围的这些东西呢，就是说有所认识。那么在关键的时候呢，你还能捡到宝啊。对。那今天呢，我给网友朋友先从这个，竹子雕刻的东西开始说起。竹子。你比如说我眼前的这样的一个已经深咖啡色的这是一个笔筒，这就是竹子雕的。对，这是清代的。你看这个上头有一些图案，有人物图案，有山水。对，这应该说是可能有200年以上啊。对，你看这个竹子用久了就成这样子了。这是说我们把它这个图片呢打开，就是给大家看一看，它圆了之后你可能看不到全部，这样变成一个长条形的。大家就认识到这个图案是这样，
像一幅画卷一样。
对。那这个图呢就叫观松图。观松图。那网友会问，观松图到底什么意思呢？其实就是几位长者，就是看起来就是
looks like some, people who are very knowledgeable. They know a lot of knowledge. And when you look at them, the clothes they wear, they're like very wise seniors, and they left all these, names and fame and, money aside. They come to the mountains and above the cloud and enjoy the natural scenery. And in the mountain, they found a very old pine tree, and very strong and beautiful. So they're actually talking about this pine tree. They're back to nature. So it's quite fun. And you can see that it looks like that they know each other very well. They are good friends, and they went to the mountains together, and they look at the tree. They can, chat with each other. Maybe they are co-colleagues, or maybe they are old friends. Maybe 3 or 5 friends together. They go to the mountains together, and they can fully enjoy the nature and the mountains and being one with nature. When you look at the picture, it seems to be very simple, but there's the pine tree, and you can see the steep mountain, and there's the people, the figures, and you could even see the robes that they wear. These lines are very vivid. And this senior who's facing us, when I look at the face, actually, even such a small face, you could even see that there's a kind of an appearance on the face. Yeah, let's see clearly. So there's a kind of an expression on the face. Can you see from the face? I used a magnifier to see it, and I can see that there's an expression on the face. And you look at the people facing us and whose back towards us, they're all very vivid and clear. And these are some scholars, and wearing those robes, these kind of long robes. People wear long robes. Either they are very wealthy, or they're of a higher official. Usually people who do some labors, they wear very short sleeves and, and short pants. And so about the bamboo, you all know bamboo is very well known, usually commonly see, and it's hollow inside. It's not like wood. They need to cut inside hollow. For stones or wood, you need, if you want to cut it hollow, it would be hard because you need to cut off the inside. But this is very easy because it's hollow inside already, and so you can use it as like a pen holder, or you can like a container for water or anything, and so it's very commonly used. On the surface of the bamboo, I guess it would be harder than carving on the wood. Grandmaster said, yeah, I think so, because the texture is different from the wood. A wood pen holder, usually it's, if you want to cut it, it would be like a round wood, and then you can, you cut the inside off, and then you can cut it very, very thick. But the bamboo is only, the thickness is very limited. It's only about like 1 centimeter thick, and it's round. And it also has its, ridges. So the ridge of bamboo is very unique, and it's a little bit flexible. Yeah, so in one direction it can be very tedious, and on the other, if it can even break easily, very brittle. And so carve on the bamboo needs to have very high skill. And Christine said in China, usually they grow mostly in the south. But from the east to the west, most of the southern provinces, they all have bamboos, like Jiangsu and Zhejiang province, or Fujian or Hunan and Jiangxi provinces, or even Sichuan province. They all have a lot of bamboo growing there. So Grandmaster, there are so many provinces, they have bamboos, and in which part of it their bamboo carving would be, special or unique? And that's a good question, Grandmaster said. Many places in the world, they have bamboos, but the carving has differences. I think it depends on, the history and also their knowledge too, and their level is different. I think in Zhejiang and Jiangsu province in China, their bamboo carvings has a very long history and very, very eloquent and very vivid. And so our friends might ask why they have better bamboo carvings, because in the history, Jiangsu and Zhejiang province, first of all, the location, and their irrigation, their culture, their agriculture is very well. It's very suitable for growing agriculture. I think in Jiangsu and Zhejiang province, when they grow rice, they can grow 3 seasons. Have you ever heard about that? Oh, Christine, you grew up in the city. You probably don't know. Well, but Christine said, yeah, I heard of that though. But in the North China, they only have 1 season. And in the northern China, usually all kinds of plants, they only have 2 seasons. But along the Yangtze River, they usually can grow 3 seasons of rice. So they can have much more quantity of harvesting. And in the south, they also have a bigger population. And in that area, they also have more vegetables and fruits, a lot of plants, and bamboo is one of them. And, bamboo, when they grow, the root will expand, and whenever there's an opportunity, then it will grow a new, bamboo sprout. And it's getting to spring, and so in south of the Yangtze River, they usually they really like to eat bamboo shoots. Well, if you do not, he doesn't know if the bamboo, if you do not cut it, it will eventually get very dry. Well, the bamboo shoots, if you cut it, they're very tender, and when they grow very high, they become bamboos. And so these sprouts, these bamboo shoots, it's very, big bamboos are very big size, like the ox horn. In Taiwan, I can see some of the bamboo shoots are like 33 centimeters high, and they cut it and they can stir fry it. It helps to release our inner heat and inflammation. I have a question. People like bamboos, and who also like bamboo shoots? Oh, pandas. They really like very tender bamboo shoots. I heard, Christine said, I heard in the United States, the zoo had to air transport the favorable kind of bamboo from China, from Sichuan province, to the United States because the pandas really love them. Oh, so bamboos are really like human beings. They only like that kind of bamboo from their hometown. Yeah, say for example, it's only from Mianyang of Sichuan province. Otherwise, the bamboo from other places, I don't like it. Maybe they're too dry or too hard or yeah. So bamboo is very common, but they can be used in many different areas, not just for carvings, for pen holders, but it also can be used in many different areas. First of all, people would use bamboos for construction. Say, maybe a fence. I'm sure in south of Yangtze River, they would use bamboos to make those fences. And sometimes you use the bamboo, not the main beam, but the maybe at least the side of it. And sometimes maybe they will use bamboos to build maybe like a mat. And then they will cover, cover the roof, and then they can put brick on the mat, and so the brick will support the brick. Well, the mat will support the bricks, and they will not be slippery. And bamboo can be also used for a toothpick. And yeah, these bamboo mats that used are very cool. Sometimes in the summer, it's very hot in the car. The seats are very hot. And Master said I've bought those, mats made of bamboo blocks. And when I sit on the leather seat, it's like in the summer, it can be so hot. But when I put the bamboo block mat, when I sit on it, it feels so comfortable and cool. And what can we do with bamboo? What else? Oh, the bamboo raft. Yeah, like in Guilin, they have those bamboo raft and riding on the Lijiang River. And they can also use bamboo to cook bamboo rice. And yeah, have you ever had bamboo rice before? They use those, green bamboo. And Grandmaster said, I had that before. They just cut the fresh bamboo, not very big size, just a few centimeters of the diameter, and then they put the washed rice in it, and then some water, and they can either cook it or steam it or burn it. As long as the rice is cooked, wow, the rice smells so nice. So this kind of rice, whatever quantity you eat, you won't get fat like the panda. No, not overweight. We don't like, too thin pandas, right? Yeah. So pandas can be used for many things. And also in your office, people use them to make those pen brush, the pens. Pen sticks, and usually it's made of bamboo, and then the brush under it. So bamboo can be used in many places. And on this picture, watching the pine tree, I think that the ridge, the lines on the bamboo, I think it even shines light. Can we see it again? Oh, wow, yeah. When we look at this carefully, the original skin of the bamboo has already been peeled off. So that's the outer skin has been peeled off, and we can already see the fiber of the bamboo inside. Yeah, when you peel off the skin of the bamboo, you'll see the fibers inside after it's being used for such a long time. You can see these fibers have many different colors. When I look at these colors, and if I just generally look at it, it looks like either light yellow or brownish. And when I magnify it, there's some, yellow or red or very colorful. And yeah, when you see carefully, it looks very beautiful. I don't know why it looks like that, but it's very unique. Maybe because after a very long time, these aged stuff, after use for so long, the texture of these materials, now they are shining these colorful lights. So when the universe creates everything, everything has its natural beauty. For the bamboo to have such beautiful light, you really can't help loving it. This bamboo pen holder, after they carve it, if they don't carve it, you probably don't cherish it that much. You probably won't keep it. But because they have carved such beautiful picture on it, people, when they use it, they will be very careful when they're using it. And therefore, this can be kept for hundreds of years, and you would appreciate it. Yeah, this is a very rare one. And Grandmaster, you said also bamboo symbolizes humbleness, and it's also, very resilient and tenacious. And because it's hollow inside, it indicates and symbolizes humbleness. Yeah, because all bamboos have the hollow inside, and it actually has lots of indications, or because it's holding pens, it's for scholars, for students, and whether in the future you become official or do something, because bamboo, rising all the way up with every road. And so for a human being, if you rise all the way up, of course, it's good meaning. And with an attitude of humbleness, and only when you are very humble and not very arrogant, then you always want to learn. If you're arrogant, you don't want to learn, and you will resist other people's suggestions. So that will make a difference. And therefore, using the bamboo to make a pen holder would, symbolize a lot of things. And so these pen holders, either in a scholar's family or an officer's family, usually they have, expectations for their children in their future. And so the father probably will be very careful in choosing whatever is in their office. And this pen holder is one of the most important items that's put in the office, or what they call study room. And so it even holds their expectations here for their children to become a very capable person and very good future. And the pen holder is like a container for wisdom and container for a good luck. And there's no holes in the pen holder underneath, okay, on the bottom. And usually a wood carved pen holder, usually there's a hole there. It's for people to clean it. But bamboo pen holders, it's sealed at the bottom, like this one. The bottom is completely covered, sealed, And the stand is used by what we call the virgin pear wood or yellow rosewood. Yeah, it's very expensive wood. And even the eaves is also made of that yellow rosewood. And so in south of China, the bamboo carving has actually reached a very high level. It's an unprecedented level. Very similar carving would be wood carving in Jiangsu and Zhejiang province. I know there was a county called Dongyang County, and Dongyang wood carving in Zhejiang province is very famous. Now they are now a city, and it's like first class in the whole country. Their wood carving is the first class in the whole country. Most of the people in that area involved in wood carving in that industry from like long time ago until now. And in this Zhejiang and Jiangsu province, not only they carve wood, they also carve stones, especially in the Qing dynasty. They were number one in the Qing dynasty to carve on stones and jade, especially in Suzhou. Yeah, Suzhou jade carving is the best in the world. And so in this industry, they usually will call it Su skill, or they call in Chinese is Su Gong. It means, carved and made in Suzhou. And if you know that Su Gong, it must be very exquisite. And usually in Chinese, they have an old saying, jade, if you don't carve it, it won't become a, utensil or a useful item. Yeah. Usually the inside of the jade is very beautiful. If you find a jade in the river, it doesn't usually look very nice or beautiful. Usually jade has an outside cover, and because of nature, it looks probably quite rough and not so exquisite. And so when people discover this jade, they will have to cut off the outside surface, and inside jade is the true jade, the beautiful jade. And they will, according to the texture and the state of this jade, because it's a natural jade, it's not like wood. The size of the jade, the shape of the jade, and the lines in the jade. So they, according to the natural shape and size of the jade, they will decide what they are going to carve. Maybe they will carve into a bracelet. And it's not that they just take one jade and carve it into that, because this is jade is natural. And so sometimes there are some cracks in the jade. Yeah. Maybe just naturally. Sometimes, yeah, they have some cracks. And so when you look at this jade, when you cut off the outside, skin, and if there's a crack in the middle, you think, oh no, this one cannot be used for a jade bracelet. And you need, if you want to make it, you need to avoid that crack. And Christine said, oh, Grandmaster, those who can carve into bracelet, the jade need to be the best part of that piece of jade. And it needs to, Master said, it needs also to be big enough. A lot of pieces of jade, many different kinds of jade. In Canada, we call British Columbia or BC. We also have jade, and it's like very green. I've seen a very big sheep or pig, even though the outside is a little bit damaged, and it looks like 1 ton, the whole jade. Sometimes if you discard the unusable part, you probably can only have a very small piece left. And sometimes even such a big jade, maybe you couldn't even carve 1 jade bracelet. And for 1 piece of jade, if you can make even 1 bracelet, sometimes it's already pretty good. And before, maybe you have seen those incense burner, the jade incense burner, or maybe a jade mountain that needs to have a very big piece of very good jade. Yeah, and they can be very, very expensive, especially if they are carved into a big incense burner. You need to cut the inside off, and you need to cut so many parts off, and it needs to be very round, and it needs to be big size. So the jade needs to be of superior quality, because you need to cut so many off, and the requirement for the craftsman is very, very high. Say, for example, the jade is $1 million. After carving it, it would be $10 million. Say, for just an example. And so the carving skill, usually just for the carving, you need to pay, say, for example, $500,000, and you probably buy 1 million for the jade and $500,000 for the carving, but you can still sell for like 10 million, you would still make big profit. But if you don't carve it, if you buy $1 million of the jade, and maximum you can sell for 1.5 million, right? So that's why people's the Chinese old saying is like, if you don't carve the jade, it won't be precious. And when you carve it, then people would appreciate it and becomes very precious. Yeah, just a big stone. Not many people would appreciate it that much. And so this jade stone has already absorbed the energy from heaven and from earth, and all of a sudden they become either an animal or a utensil, or and it's like very vivid and very oh, actually, Grandmaster, I've seen that there's a little pig, jade pig. It's pretty fat and very adorable. Yeah, round and lovely. Let me put this little pig on the button of the pen holder, and then you can see it carefully. Ooh. A fat pig. So, so lovely. Yeah. Well, this pig, it's very old, more than 400 years old, because it's from the Ming Dynasty. A very fat and adorable pig. And the color of the pig, as you can see, this jade is Hetian jade. Wow, Hetian jade is very famous. In China, most of the jade that you wear, some people say, oh, on this mountain we have jade, because they don't have much jade on the mountain. Other people won't know. It won't be well known. It won't be a big class of jade. But in Xinjiang, Hetian, and Hetian jade, from ancient time, they're already discovering Hetian jade. But let me tell you now, it's almost gone. Yeah. I think in the first part or the second part, we talked about the culture of jade from ancient time, from Gansu province, Ma Jia Yao. And the jade from, thousand and thousand years ago. And some of them are also Hetian jade carvings. So at that time, they've already had Hetian jade from 2,500 years to 3,000 years ago. Those royal family, imperial families, some of the white jade are from Xinjiang, Hetian. And those are the real jade, the jade that Chinese people would acknowledge and appreciate. And then in the Qing, maybe sometimes because of the border, maybe the cows go to the other country or something, and Qianlong Emperor sent soldiers to fight. Qianlong was very good at managing the country and fight. The Qianlong only was defeated when he fight with Myanmar. Like he was defeated 2 times, and then they had to set an agreement. Yeah, because the land cannot be divided, and there are some conflicts in between. Or maybe it says, "Oh, your cow come to my land," or and okay, and the daughter comes to marry people in this country, and so there are lots of mixed up relationships. And so the Qing dynasty at that time, they were defeated, so they have to negotiate. And then the Myanmar jade and rice and jadeite, or they were traded to China. And if someone will get rich, actually you can't stop it. The Qing dynasty. How come, and Qing also has the same pronunciation as blue. But other dynasties, they don't have a name of the dynasty with a color. And so in Myanmar, most of the jade also has the, the color of green. And Qing has the same pronunciation as the color of blue or green. And so they feel like, oh, see, their jade is good. It has the same color as the name of our dynasty. And so Myanmar jade was sold very well in the Qing dynasty. And therefore, Myanmar, they got very rich at the time. And after that, they have this Myanmar jadeite coming to China. And before, in China, they used to use those white jade. And Grandmaster said, even white jade are not local. Hetian is not in the middle of China. It's already in Xinjiang province, the side of China. And after Qianlong, they also fight with Xinjiang, but they win the war with Xinjiang. I forgot, maybe 20 years after Qianlong, then Hetian jade came back to China. Just talking about the history. Let's not talk about the politics right now. It was just the history, okay? And so Xinjiang sometimes belongs to China, sometimes not. When it rebels, it's not China. Otherwise, when they were taken by China, it will belong to China. When the Qing dynasty win the war, and so the jade comes to the center of China. This Hetian jade were sold to mainland China. Those Chinese people really like the Hetian jade. They can't resist this, temptation, and it just was the history. So before, in China, usually they think Hetian jade is the best quality jade. And because it's very gentle, like the jade, if somebody would like to describe a person, they would say, oh, they're as gentle as the jade. And this jade, Hetian jade pig, at the bottom, there's a little bit like this burned color. Some people call it a gold skin. So this is Hetian jade. You know, usually jade has a skin, and the skin usually is yellowish or brownish skin. And so the Myanmar jade, sometimes they also have either yellow or other colors. Usually Hetian jade has a skin of yellow and brown skin. What can it prove? So this yellowish brownish skin, what does it mean? It means gold, or anybody who can tell me why this is brown? Oh, you can't. You don't know? I don't think our online friends would know it much. I mean, just the natural part, when the jade has the brown color, we call it, it's from the river. It's a Hetian jade from the river. And so the jade is found in the river. And so it's kind of unctuous, you know, even feels like greasy. And usually jade is from like millions of years ago, and after billions of years, it has the energy or the texture of water and grease. In the mountain, it's very likely to have a mineral. It's iron. When iron is very high, it will make the stones in the river. You sometimes would see some stones in the river is brown, and it means that in this river has a lot of iron, and so that iron makes the color yellowish brown. And that's why people make fake Hetian jade. Sometimes the expert would say, oh, this yellow is fake, is artificial. They so it's called jade pebble. These jade pebble usually has much higher value as the jade from the mountains. Usually it's 5 times higher price. So the jade from the river usually is 5 times higher the price than the jade from the mountains, because of the river is rich in iron, and this color of iron, after many years, it makes this jade having this color. Some rivers, maybe they have tin, or some may have maybe they have other minerals. And sometimes you see some rivers, they probably have too many alkaline, and then there's no fish in the river at all. But if you take the picture of the river, this water is like bluish green. If it's reddish, then it means that there's more iron. So if there are two lead, it's poisonous, and so there's no fish. If it's more acidic, then it's more red, and if it's more alkaline, it's more lead, and it's so what is in Chinese we call this kind of jade is the 籽料, and it's jade pebble. And this pig is from the Ming Dynasty, so more than 400 years ago. And this pig also has a gold skin. Why do they use such a beautiful jade to carve into a pig? Maybe, why don't you carve into a bodhisattva? Why do they carve into a pig? Anybody who likes this pig? Everybody is leaving comments, say they love it so much. Well, I'd like to, okay, I'll like to know why they carve into a pig instead of a monkey. But if they carve into a, whenever they carve a monkey, they will also carve a horse, because in Chinese there's a idiom says, like immediately they can become an official. So when the horse and monkey together, it has the meaning of immediately becoming an official. And so when they carve into a pig, it says the pig will hump up the gate. So it means that good fortune will come to us by itself. So the Chinese New Year is arriving, and our friends, maybe you would, I'm sure everyone would like good fortune. If you see, like in ancient times, when those officials, they are usually very, heavy or overweight, and yeah, so they usually think those people are of higher position. Well, we're talking about why they carve into a pig. So we're just talking about history. So the Han Dynasty, in the tombs, there are two things that they will always be there for a very wealthy person. So one is that barn, the granary, that's made of like a pottery granary. And the second thing is a pig pen, and the pig. So usually they will be sacrificed, and you see this is a pig pen. They have the pigs there, and then even the pig pen has these bricks on top. So these must be from a very wealthy family. Han Dynasty is already 2,000 years ago, and when they bury the pig with the person, they even would kill, like 5,000 years ago, they would kill a pig and bury it together with the person. That seems a little cruel, but what I want to explain is that people think pig simplifies wealth, especially, a pig mom, after delivering many pigs, then they will become very wealthy. And so in China, with the economic reform, they say, oh, you better have some pigs, and then you can expand very fast, and then you will get rich very fast. And so pig symbolizes wealth and prosperity. So pig is the asset of many families. A lot of people, they grow pigs, even though they don't eat pork, but they will sell the pig to other countries. So in China, very few farmers, they don't have pigs.
所以下面一个作品就知道，所以过去人你在读古书的时候，经常是说这些女生缝个香包挂在身上吧，
对，
对不对？
sometimes, in ancient times, those ladies, they have those fragrant in their, like a fragrant bag. Every lady will carry a fragrant bag because wherever they go, you go to the pig pen or other barns, there's always that kind of stinky smell. And so the ladies always have to carry a fragrant bag. Because when you go to the farms, it's just too smelly. So now, pig symbolizes wealthy and prosperity. And that's true. And Christine said, oh, now I have a very good impression on pig. And well, Grandmaster said, do you know how much now the pork is? Like, I think in China right now is, I don't know, the price is pretty high now. Anyways, we're not going to talk about that, but we're just going to say pig symbolizes wealthy, prosperity, and in my childhood, my father would go out and put some, fat on the lips and showing other people that, see, I've already had pork, I've had some meat, and show other people like they're very rich. And in the Tang Dynasty, they're very wealthy, and in the Tang Dynasty, all the beautiful women, as you can see from the pictures, they are very chubby, like the cartoon figures.
好玩吧？
Is it fun?
所以知道猪哈
Yeah.
是对人体有益的
So pigs are very good for every family and make you rich. And so you can wear some pigs and put a pig in your bag and put a pig in the house. It means the fat pig will help us to get richer. And so who wants this pig?
不容易找，就是这些都是古代的猪哈。
Well, it's very hard to find an antique pig. It's very, very hard to find. I have only one pig. I have only one dog here. It's very expensive when I purchase them and very rare to find. Very hard to find the second one. When I find the second one, I will tell you. These little animals, very lovely and protecting us. It's very high demanded in the world market. Look at this pig. There's a hole there. Why? There's a hole there. Oh, for you to, it can be used as a pendant, so you can put the very thick string inside. And some people can use as a pendant or maybe hold it in a bracelet. And you can hold it in your hands. When we look at the picture of the pig, look at the texture of the jade. It's unctuous and oh wow, it's so gentle. Well, some of our new online friends, maybe it's the first time for them to hear about Hertian jade from me. Well, generally speaking, Hertian jade is very, very gentle, not cold, and moisturized, always feel like greasy kind of. And some people might ask, after you use it for 100 years, would these greasy or unctuous feeling disappear? No, never. I haven't lived that long, but I would say after 1,000 years, this jade would still be like that. And the quality and texture of Hetian jade has the texture of very gentle energy. And for seniors, a lot of people lost a lot of calcium, or their bones are very brittle. And so for seniors, you'd better not wear jadeite too much, or jadite, because in Myanmar, it's the tropical area. It's hot on the surface, but underground, it's very icy cold. But in Hebei province, my hometown, you know, when we need to preserve the vegetables, you know, in the winter, in the northern China, there's no plants growing. So usually we will buy some cabbage or potatoes or carrots. And where should we preserve them? We will preserve underground. So we will probably dig maybe 3 meters deep and make like a hole or like a cabinet, and then we would put the vegetables inside, because underground is warm in northern China. 10 meters underground, you don't even need heaters. It's not cold at all. And 10 meters underground, you only need to wear a shirt in the winter. So in ancient times, when you see the houses at that time, their wall is only 1 meter high, but maybe 2 meters underground. So in the winter, it would keep them warm. But in the south, underground, it's icy cold. And so in Xinjiang, it's very cold in the winter, but underground, it's warm. So the jade is warm. So if you have a cold constitution, wearing this kind of jade will actually nurture you and nourish you, but it won't be overly heating you up, and it will protect you. And in the Shen-Nong medical in the compendium of material medica, it actually says Hetian jade will help to release the heat and quench the thirst and nourish our heart, our lungs, our throat, our hair, our internal organs, and strengthen our bones. And many emperors and empresses, Kangxi and Qianlong and Wu Zetian, they will wear jade items, and they'll use jade cups and maybe jade bracelet. And those emperors and empresses, they wear jade bracelet. It's just, that's basic. So Hetian jade, when it turns into a jade item, it will nurture us and nourish us. And after we get to a certain age, some people have some anxiety that it's hard to resist. And if you can wear the jade, this Hetian jade, it helps us to be very calm and help us to avoid this kind of anxiety. Yes. In the Red Mansions, that Chinese famous novel, Jia Baoyu is the main character. He was born with a jade in his mouth. Well, it's like a legend, but jade, when we analyze jade, you have already read the description from the compendium of Materia Medica. It mentioned about the benefits of jade. It's very scientific, and it helps our internal organs, helps our blood, helps our bones, helps our skins. And when we talk about that, whether you're using jade bracelet, every lady likes to be beautiful. if ladies don't like to be beautiful, men will feel boring, right? So you can use the jade to massage your skin, and it makes your skin tight and moisturized. That's definitely true, and no side effect at all. And so jade nourishes us, and it actually helps each other. When you massage the jade on the skin, it actually also nurtures the jade. Human beings are actually borrowing the energy from the jade. Why should we say that? So Christine, when I hold this bracelet, this jade has already been 3,000 years, 5,000 years. Christine said maybe longer, because it grows in the nature. It could be even billions of years. Oh my gosh. It's like million or trillion years, and because of the magnetic field and the wind and rain and all kinds of environmental effects and so jade finally turned out to be like that. It's not like they're just born like this. Originally, it wasn't a jade. It was just qi. And when the qi turns into solid, and it probably is just like a stone, and then through squeezing and breaking and wind and rain and everything from the universe, after billions of years, it eventually turns into this texture. So this has the essence of the earth and heaven and earth. For people who can live 120 years, you are already a very, very long life. In ancient times, if you can live until 88 years old, it's very, very long. In Han Dynasty, they can only live 20 to 30 years. Now, some developed countries, maybe some good countries, they have maybe average 82 years old. But this jade, the youngest jade would be like 1 billion years. And so human beings compared to jade, it's just so short period of time. So we're just borrowing the energy of jade, and the essence of the energy from heaven and earth is now distilled and in this jade. And so this is very divine-like. Well, in the compendium of Materia Medica, it can be easily understood. But thinking about this is made after billions of years, there are lots of energy. You cannot be visible by our human eyes, and when you wear it, you can see the light like shining around you, and the evil will be scared away. Of course, so when you wear jade items, it will just scare away all the evil energy. I'm not exaggerating. In science, there are 2 levels, or maybe 3 aspects or levels. Say, for example, the iron. We use this technique to distill it and make into this item. And this medicine, we probably use this test tube and then have this chemical reaction. This is just the lowest level. And the second level is the TCM, the traditional Chinese medicine. Some people say TCM is not science. I would say they're too judgmental. It's not true. Well, in China, in ancient time, they already started to study this. So they have already tested them, and it's more profound. And there's even higher level, is like the unknown science. do you know what the stars are made of? Elon Musk said we would immigrate to Mars. Well, you don't even know the material of Mars. Why should you go to Mars? Can you survive there? The radiation there might even kill us. But the confidence is very, I really respect that confidence to explore, wanting to explore the unknown is really wonderful. The highest, more advanced scientists, they will, make research in this field. They have sent satellite to the space. They're trying to research those invisible materials. What is that material? So these are the new science, and also quantum physics. Quantum physics has already break the ground of all, Newton science. Newton science. So it has shifted the whole idea of Newton science or physics. All the known physics, they are from what is visible. But when beyond the Earth, the known Newton science is not applicable. So beyond Earth, how the spaceship would go and how can they send signals back, and all the scientific, theories becomes, useless. It's like, you speak the Sichuan dialect, and when you go out of Sichuan, that dialect is useless. And so some of the science rules are only within the Earth's criteria. And quantum physics says everything is created by myself. If I think that is there, my thoughts think this there, that's there. That sounds, I'm the creator. So science is divided into different levels. The preliminary level, like as long as I know just one item or visible things, it's already good enough. But more advanced science, we should always have the spirit to explore, the heart to explore the world and the universe, especially the unknown. Always research on the known is useless, and we need to explore the unknown. And Christine said, wow, what a wonderful teaching. Oh, why should we talk about that? Master said, we're talking about the energy in jade. Have you seen the light and the energy field of the jade? Well, you can't see the light, but you're using cell phones. Have you ever seen the waves, the sound waves, or the radiation? And Christine said, I've never seen that. The electric waves or the ultra red waves, very rarely would you see that. And there are lots of waves that we cannot see and we cannot hear. The light speed, if I threw this flashlight, if it's faster than the light speed, you won't be able to see. In some martial arts novels, they say that they cut the head off, but because the speed is too high, they couldn't see it. But that is even much lower than the speed of light. When it's beyond light speed, then a lot of things, a lot of rules does not apply. So we should always have the heart to explore. So these essence of heaven and earth, even with the most advanced technology right now, we can never build anything that's even remotely close to these natural jade, because these are actually made after billions of years. That, yeah, the time that's involved in making them. And so we talked about the pig. A lot of friends online, they say, oh, I want it, I want it. It's just so adorable. Oh, Grandmaster, do you have other jade items that you can show us? Yeah, I have a dog here. This dog is even older. It's even older than the pig. Oh, but this dog is quite thin. It's not like a very traditional dog. Why is it not very traditional? It's like lying on the ground. I just think Christine said it's not an ordinary dog. Well, Grandmaster said this is a dog actually bowing or prostrating to Buddha. It must be a dog of a cultivator. And look at the spine. You see these bulges. It's not because the dog is too thin. I don't think it's because this is too thin. This is a dog, but it's not like a pet dog. I just feel like this is very special. Well, this is a divine dog. In Chinese jade carvings, when they carve any animals, as long as their spine has these bulges, the bones sticking out, it means that this is a divine animal. It's not an ordinary animal. I also know that in the Western countries, there's a dog that they have very long legs and mouth is also very long. The dog is very thin, and when they hunch their back, their spine will be like this. When their spine is like that, you know, dragon, on the back of the dragon, there's the fin, right? And when a little animal is a divine animal, then their spine would be exaggerated, which is different from an ordinary animal. So this dog is from the Song dynasty, and this is a divine dog, and it has, you already said jade has a lot of, you know, qualities. It can help to pacify the spirit. You also know that dogs are very loyal, so they will protect the owner. Usually the dogs is like, oh, this is my house, this is my family. I mean, and the dog knows that if the owner hasn't say okay, then he will not allow the thief to come in. He would protect the house. And so dogs are always trying to protect and very loyal. When ancient people they use either jade or agate to carve into a dog, so that will protect you and pacify the spirit and dispel the evil spirit. You know, some people, maybe they have been scared in their childhood, and so they couldn't sleep very well at night. Usually when people, they will listen to a story, but then that person would just be scared, and even, so some parents, they know, usually doctors cannot help in this case, and so some parents would know that they will go to some Buddhist masters or Taoist masters. Every master will have some auspicious items, and this must be from a master. And so they will usually say, okay, just wear this, and you can wear it as a pendant, and it will help you to pacify your heart and spirit. And when you sleep, it put it beside you so that evil spirit will be far away from you, and this will protect you. Sometimes, I mean, in modern times, in YouTube or Netflix, I sometimes see some little dog would suddenly bark to a certain corner of the house, and then the owner would also feel weird, and because the dog is very, intuitive, and animals' eyes and ears, sometimes they can see or hear more than human beings. You know that, right? A normal dog, even just a normal dog, their hearing is usually 36 times stronger than human. And if they have really excellent hearings, it would be 120 times stronger than human beings. They're not just far away sound, even some sound that human beings will never be able to hear. And even donkeys will be able to hear. Sometimes at middle of the night, the donkeys will be just jumping and shrinking. Yeah, sometimes they got crazy because they feel the threat. And dogs would be like that. When dogs bark to a certain place and the owners couldn't see anything, they couldn't see, but usually it's because of an evil energy. But it's just the human eyes cannot see. So dogs at this time, they are carved into a dog to protect you. There are so many kids were scared, and sometimes they were so scared that they would say terrible things, and they just didn't know how to cure that. So this is a way to help those people, not just to use dogs to pacify, and sometimes they carved into a tortoise, or sometimes carved into a tiger. And so in ancient times, they, only wealthy people use jade. And sometimes they use porcelain ones. They have porcelain pillows. They made it into a cat-like, but it symbolizes a tiger. And sometimes it's a wood carving tiger. Usually it's a porcelain pillow. Sometimes I also saw like wooden pillows and in a cat shape, because in old times it's very common, those tiger pillows. The kids, when they have been scared, people who know Dharma, who has Dharma power, they know that, oh, there's evil energy around, it's not good for the child. And so he would say, oh, come here, I will bless these pillows, these tiger pillows, and this will protect the kid. And that's why some of those tiger pillows have been kept until now. And some people say, this is just a cat pillow. Well, cat is very commonly seen. Tigers are very rarely seen. So that's why they try to make a tiger pillow, but they look like cat because they always only see cat. They don't see tigers. So it's hard for them to draw a tiger. And Grandmaster, you just talked about the divine dog. It will protect us, will pacify us, and we also know that dogs helps us to guard the family and the house. And also they have those herding dogs, and that helps to protect the owner's properties.
看网友留言呢，也没人讲到他真的名字，我把这个谜底告诉大家哈。当然我也没有问，这个不是一般的狗，
This is not
有一个专属的名字。
a regular dog.
叫做哮天犬。
Oh, this is called.
吼这个东西呢，吼这个东西呢，
This is
是专
called
门吃
howling
妖邪鬼
sky
怪，
barking hound,
它不是一个人间的一个小狗，明白了哈？
or the
对，
deified dog.
对，叫哮天
It's
吼。
not
所以在汉代、宋代
a
之前
dog
的
in the
古墓里面，
human
王公贵族
world.
哈，
In the
雕出你
Han
的这什么怪
Dynasty,
物啊？
some
一个大石头雕
imperial
得很大的，
families, they
就是
would
哮天犬。
carve a big
守护着这个
animal,
王
and you
陵，
would
别
think,
人
oh,
的
what
邪
is
魔来
this
吃这个
animal?
魂，
And that's
它
a
专门吃邪恶的那
deified
个魂，
dog.
就是这
And
样，就是哮天
it
犬。
especially they would eat those you know evil things. And Christine said, jade will naturally protect us and remind us. There are lots of stories about that. I remember that in my hometown, there was a senior, and she lives alone by herself because she is a senior, so she has some cardiovascular problems, but she didn't care so much because she's already having these problems. So she just prepares some medicine in the bags, those quick result heart reliever. So usually in the winter, some seniors will naturally feel that their heart doesn't feel very comfortable, and so she knows that maybe her problem is getting worse, and so she always put the medicine in her bag. And one day she couldn't find the medicine, and she tried to find also her jade pendant there, because she usually put the jade pendant in the bag, and she couldn't find the jade pendant, and suddenly she got very, very worried. Oh no, how come the jade pendant was away? She was very anxious, and she quickly called the police and said, oh, policeman, come to my house and try to find the jade pendant. When the police heard somebody's call, just a senior who lost a jade pendant, the policeman was hesitating whether he should go to the senior's house. While he was hesitating, the senior was like breathing heavier and heavier and gasping, and so he was asking the senior, where do you live? But the senior's voice gets lower and lower, and the two policemen, after they found this, they immediately put the phone down and rushed to the senior's house. And they found it's more than just lost a jade pendant. Looks like the old lady has something serious happened, and they saw that her door is opening. This old man is like sitting at the ground in the hallway, and so they say, oh, what's wrong with you? And the old lady couldn't say anything, and so one of the policemen, he is already 40 or 50 years old, he's very experienced, so he thought, oh, maybe it's because of the heart problem. So he found the medicine in her bag, and so he gave the medicine to the lady, and the lady seems to be a little better, and so they moved the lady to the sitting room so that the lady can sit on the sofa, but she didn't get better. And then she's still, looking for the jade, and the old lady is still thinking about the jade. And so the two policemen look at this and quickly called, the Chinese 911, which is 120, and it's for the ambulance to come. And while they are waiting for the ambulance, the policemen saw that it's very urgent, in such an emergency. We cannot just wait here. We probably need to move this old lady to downstairs, and because she's really like very serious. And this lady lives in a very old neighborhood. She couldn't, like, the stairs are so narrow that they couldn't just hold her. So they had to carry the lady on their back and carry her downstairs. That was very hard. And so they carried the lady downstairs and walk all the way to the entrance of that neighborhood. And at that time, the ambulance arrived, and so the doctors and nurses moved the lady to the ambulance, and so that was good. And the policeman asked the doctors. They said, "Oh, after some medical treatment, this old lady was fine and out of danger." And then the two policemen then, okay, now that the lady is fine, they thought about the jade pendant. So they went back to the lady's house, the apartment, and so they searched everywhere in the apartment. They thought maybe the lady has misplaced it somewhere, and they found the jade pendant in the garbage bin. You see? Well, usually people will not put jade pendant in the garbage bin, right? You see, this is beyond, the medical, explanation, because this lady was trying to search for the medicine, and he couldn't find the medicine. And then she suddenly thought about her jade. If she only thought about the medicine, she will not make a phone call to the police, right? This jade, it's almost like the jade walked to the garbage bin by itself. So the lady would be forced to make the phone call to the police and eventually saved her life. So anyways, this sounds an incredible story. Before we would think, oh, no, this is something, it's hard to understand, but that sometimes actually we encounter them quite often. And Master said, in my childhood, I actually have saved some people. I actually helped like hundreds of people. One of them that I helped, at that time he was sick. I forgot exactly what the illness was. That was Mr. Song. And he's from the Qinghai province and from the Agriculture Institute of.
Mrs. Song worked at a science center in Qinghai, and he learned cultivation from me, and she is a scientist. She felt that self-cultivation was very interesting, so she came to me very often to learn from me. She learned self-cultivation and also some Buddhist Dharma too, so we got closer and closer and more acquainted.
这个师傅，我们单位呢，就派我们，因为他是做农业科研的，派我们这个小组呢，他们那个小组我忘记是研究那个油菜籽之类的，还是什么东西的一种植物的一个科研小组。但是他们那个实验田呢，就在一个山区里头，就是远离城市。
Their
这个去的话，可能1个月到3个月左右才能回来。
Research land is in the mountains, and
而我那个其实去之前的也
a
是一种
round trip would take a couple of months. And one day she asked me, before I'm going to take a trip into the mountains, into the research land, but I have a bad feeling about it. Should I go or not? And especially I am the team leader.
小组的组长，就他这个课题的，
because she is a research team leader. She cannot say that because I don't feel auspicious, so I don't go to the research land. What do you feel? What should I do? And while I closed my eyes and looked at her, there was a negative energy that rushed toward me, and it felt very unfortunate. That's why when we first met, I felt that you won't live very long. This time when she asked me again, I told her that there's no way. Just go. And she is very scared. There's no way out for her. She doesn't have any reason to not go. Otherwise, she'll lose her job. So she asked me, Master, is there any charm that can protect me? Anything that's auspicious that I can wear? I can return it to you when I come back. Previously, my master has given me a very large jade bead, and it was just sitting on my table. And so I told her that, here, take this vintage jade bead. She is a scientist and she doesn't know about energies. So she asked me, will this jade bead protect me? I told her to just trust me. She says, I don't know if I can trust you or not. I'm a scientist. It's okay. I can prove I trust you. I'll trust you more later on. So I just gave her the jade bead, and I wish you auspiciousness and safe return. And so then she left. When she left my door, I felt as if I was electrified. I saw that was a very bad sign. So she left for her trip. And about half a month later, she came back. She came back. And when she came back, she looked as if she's defeated. She went to borrow her husband's Jeep. And she came to see me. Her head and her arm all wrapped in and I asked her what happened. She said that I'm lucky to be alive. When I healed her in the past, she never kneeled in front of me, but this time she did. She told me what happened. She came back. And she was in the hospital for a long time. And then she came to visit me when she felt better. So 2 days, the second day after she left me with the jade bead, her team left for the mountains, for the research land. They drove through the mountain range, and the road that they were supposed to drive on has a mudslide, and there was no way to pass it. And when they asked the locals told her that they can drive in the dry river canals. And so they drove in the dry river canal. And after 2 hours, there was a mudslide. Before she could realize what's happening, the car started to roll, and she clutched her bead, and then she fainted. She lost her consciousness. When she woke up, she was in pain, and there are people trying to save them, trying to excavate them from the car, the damaged car. She was the last one to be pulled out of the car. everyone else has passed away. The only person that was alive was her, and so she was sent to the hospital. She stayed in the hospital for half a month and then came to see me. She told me that I finally believe you. After she fainted, she lost her consciousness for several days. She saw someone wearing white robes. I think it's probably Guanyin Bodhisattva. That person in white robe took her to a world trip. She visited Florence in Italy and a few other cities. And she visited many different places, and she confirmed it looking into books and pictures of those cities. And she doesn't know who that white guardian is. She told me that it's the guardian of the jade. So she took down the jade and gave it back to me. She asked me if she can keep it for longer. I told her that when you borrow it, you have to return it. She saw that it's a jade that's protecting her. But it's difficult to say whether it's a blessing or it's the energy of the jade. But that was a very scary incident. Everyone, including the drivers, are died. Her entire research team has died. It's a very incredible force that saved her. And to help her rehabilitate, I taught her how to meditate. There was a piece of land that grows peaches. So it's a peach orchid. And so she chants a mantra in the peach orchid. At first, she held a clutch. And after a month, she got rid of the clutch. And when she chants, she closes her eyes. And one morning there was very big fog, and she chanted while she walked in the peach orchid. And then she heard the sound of the peach orchid, the peach trees falling down. Then when she opened her eyes, she realized that all the peach tree branches that was close to her on her side is bent. And later on, I stopped her from chanting. And I also helped to restore the peach tree branches. It was a very unique incident. Is it because of the jade or because of the Bodhisattva? But let me tell you another story. This story is the effect of jade. I helped a herdsman. The old herdsman had stomachache. And to show his gratitude, he gave me a belt made of bovine leather. And this belt is very special because the belt clutch, I didn't understand at the time. The belt clutch is made of bronze, and there is a large piece of round jade on the clutch, and it's carved in a low relief in the motif of a CiBeiYin. He told me that this belt was passed down from his grandfather, and I didn't want to take it at first, but he really wanted to give it to me, and he would get angry if I didn't. So I received it and kept it. Several years later, my father's colleague, my father is a construction worker. His colleague, Mr. Lee's wife has a very severe stomachache. It feels that her stomach is being twisted by someone. She was in severe pain. And you might ask me, why don't she go to the doctors? She did. She was on painkillers. She had shots too, and it didn't work. I don't know what happened at the time. Nobody knows why she had such severe stomachache. She had the stomachache for over a month. Mrs. Song lives in the suburb, and her husband told my father about this incident and asked us what to do. My father couldn't remember what to do. My mother told her to eat burnt toast. But I felt that this twisted stomachache is not going to be cured by burnt toast. At the time, I was very young, so I spoke up. I called him uncle, so I said, "Uncle, I have a jade belt. A Tibetan herdsman gave it to me." I had just the inspiration, the instinct. At the time, I haven't healed many people. I was very young. I asked her, would you like to try it out? He asked me how to use it. Just put it on your waist and put the piece of jade in the position of the stomach. He didn't know what to do, so he took the belt and asked his wife to wear it. A week later, he and his wife came back to thank me. After she wore the belt for an hour, the stomachache went away. Why did she came back after 7 days? Because she observed for 7 days. After the third, fourth day, she doesn't have any stomachache anymore, and that's why she came back after a week. And they were worried that she will have stomachache again, so they asked me if they could keep it. I saw that it's not mine anyways. Other people gave it to me. If it can help you, then you can keep it. The bovine belt probably didn't worth a lot of money, but as I recall, the piece of jade is a pure white mutton fat jade. It's probably worth a lot of money. That piece of jade had a lot of waxy luster. At that time, I felt that luster came from their hands, that their hands was unclean after they eat. I always felt that it was very difficult to clean the piece of jade from its waxy luster. So I cleaned them many times, trying to get rid of that waxy feeling. Now I know how silly I was. Even after the jade was very clean of its dirt, but it's still very waxy. Now I know that it's a piece of mutton fat jade. But I don't regret it, because it made its effect. If I knew how precious it is, I might not have given it to it. But I don't regret it. It's not mine anyways, as long as it can help others. The heaven created everything on this earth, and everything is a treasure. Not just jade, but everything is a treasure. If you understand its attributes, its effects, when you can use it,
then it will have a good result. Since ancient times, the Chinese use jade in many different aspects. Remember a few sessions ago when we talked about jade? Jade was used in ceremonies to pay tribute to the divine, to the ancestors. Remember the hoof-shaped jade? It's a hollow piece of column. Remember that the ancient Chinese had a lot of hair. They don't cut their hair. And so they use it, they put it on top of their head and use it as an inspirational object to receive inspiration from the divine. So they wear that jade on top of their head. Secondly, the jade helps the people to calm down, to enter a state of meditation, of calmness, so that they can receive the inspirational signs. And that's all the effect of jade. And also they wore jade phoenix, jade dragon, jade tigers in front of their chest. They also wear jade bee. And they wear it as a protection, as a charm. It increases a person's energy field. They use the jade to borrow the energy from the heavens, from the sun and the moon. For example, if you are tired and if you have excessive heat, if you put a piece of jade in your mouth, that ulcer would go away. And if you grind the jade into powder, you can eat that powder. But you have to have a lot of money to be able to do that. It's much more expensive than pearls. You can also use it to gain beauty. So the ancient has been using it for a very long time. And also, remember, when royalties pass away, they place a piece of jade in the corpse, in their mouth, in their ears, and did you? We talked about this several sessions ago. And the ancients did this so that the human spirit can be relieved to the heavens. Now you understand? So many Taoist objects are made from jade. Master, there is also some jade scholars' objects. Don't people love it even more? Of course. Anything that's made of jade are used by nobles. Yearly commoners won't get a chance to even touch it. And jade also brings many benefits. If it's very And because it's very good, so it's expensive. Because everybody understands its benefits, everybody wants to buy it, and that's why it's expensive. We talked about the 和氏璧 before. Two countries fought over this piece of round jade, and so the ancient knows how beneficial it is, so they do whatever it needs to get it. The Chinese is probably one of the largest culture who loves jade. Everyone loves jade. Many fine craftsmen will carve jade into pendants, bangles, earrings, or even hairdress. Some would also carve it into scholars' objects. Before talking about scholars' objects, I want to talk about this small piece of animal. There is a pig, there is a dog, and here's something else. This is a mystical beast. Oh, it's very cute. Christine, tell everyone what it is. It's called a 酸泥. 酸泥, that's the name of this beast. It's a mystical beast. 酸泥 is a mystical beast. It is one of the child of dragon. It looks like a lion, but it has very soft fur, but it cannot be damaged by swords. It has a very long tail. Its tail is very powerful, and it could crash a boulder. It is very swift. It can jump very high. It could have a person riding on the back and jump several meters tall. This mystical beast likes to stay at home. It likes to be stable. It's an introvert, but also it's an introvert, but it could travel thousands and thousands of miles in a day. It's very swift. And so no wonder it's a child of the dragon. And because the Venshu Bodhisattva, the Manjushri Bodhisattva, saw that this beast is very stable, but moves very fast, so it took it as its ride. And usually we think that the Manjushri Bodhisattva is riding on a lion, but it's actually riding on a 酸泥. A common animal on the earth cannot be as compatible as the Bodhisattva. It needs a mystical beast that can transverse time and space. That's quantum mechanics, right? Or quantum physics. Maybe we could use quantum physics to explain Dharma power. So this is a 酸泥 beast. If you look at this, you can wear it to protect yourself. A divine beast. The divine opposes the evil. 酸泥 eats all the evil and demons. And that's why when you wear it, it can protect you. All right. Now let's go on to scholars' objects. We talked about this bamboo brush holder. This brush holder is one of the most important objects in a scholar's object. When a person has money, they start to use better and better materials. They want to use better objects and eat better food. And the more you use a piece of jade, the more value it gains. It's the same today, and it's also the same in the ancient times. The more you wear a jade, the more value it gains. There are less and less resources that you can excavate. Take a look at this. What do you think this is? It looks like a piece of inkstone. Yes, it is. What about the material? It looks translucent, and it also looks waxy. It's probably jade, right? But it's not the white jade like previously. So this is a piece of nephrite green jade. And this piece of inkstone is from the Qing dynasty. It's a very small and shallow inkstone. People use it for straightening up the brush after it's dipped in the ink. So they use it to get rid of the excess ink and to straighten up the brush tip. So you could call it a shallow inkstone. This is a Hetian green jade inkstone. It's beautiful. When it's lighted, you could see the translucency of the light, and you could see the luster of the jade. It's a spinach green jade. Let's try to shine light through this piece of jade. Right now it's without the light. Let me turn it on. This is just not ordinary piece. Some people would call it spinach green. This is just not ordinary flashlight. This piece of inkstone is from the Qing dynasty. We've had nephrite jade pendants before. If we compare that pendant with this inkstone, this piece of inkstone is much larger. It also has a very good meaning. On the bottom, there are some watermarks, like tides from the sea. And on the top, there are some auspicious clouds. Can you see the cloud? There are two zones on this inkstone. On the top, there is a small zone, and there's another zone on the bottom. Do you know what's the name of this piece of inkstone? It feels like just above the sea, above the ocean, there is a sun rising on top of the ocean, and it's between the sea and the sky. Master, I have named it Bright Sun Above. Above the sun is the sky, below it is the ocean. So it means that it's very vast. If a person is like the bright sun high in the sky, then it means that you have a lot of prosperity. It also symbolizes scholars could become the pillar of society, and their academic success is like the sun hanging up high in the sky. All right, let's go to the next item. Look at this I'm holding. It's a piece of white Hetian jade. It's almost a mutton fat jade. Some people would recognize that it is a brush rest for resting a calligraphy brush. Can you see this redness? This is a russet skin. And this russet is orange red. It's very red, actually. This is a brush rest in the shape of a mountain range. In addition to the mountain range shape, take a look. How many peaks are there? There are 5 peaks. Usually, when the Chinese makes brush rest, it's made with 5 peaks. Think about it. It has an auspicious meaning. In traditional Chinese, when they refer to themselves, they call themselves Wu, and so that means me, and that sounds the same as number 5. Mountain represents success, so it means that if I achieve academic success, then I can do well in the imperial exam. If I have success in my life, then I can have. Some people are making guesses online, and their guess is not right. There are also some plum blossoms carved in low relief, and the fragrance of the plum blossom comes from the bitter cold, and it's difficult to study. Are you afraid of examinations? You are very intelligent and you are still afraid of exams? Or do you think it's a chance to show yourself? If you are very stressed about examinations, then other people are probably will stress more. So it's difficult to study, to learn. And so the plum blossoms shows that if you can stand the severe environment, then you could one day smell the sweet success of your life. And so you have to be able to stand the difficult environment, the bitter cold. And so this mountain range brush rest has these representations. If you took a look at the picture, you can see that there are 8 holes. Can you see it? Enlarge it. Count how many holes there are. There are 8 holes. These are 8 through holes. What do you think these 8 holes mean? There are 8 through holes on the brush rest. Why are there 8 through holes? Maybe you can rest your needle in the holes. But why do you put a needle in the brush rest? Why do we need a needle when we write calligraphy? Some people say that it represents 8 directions. That auspiciousness is coming from 8 directions. You're very smart. There are 8 holes, not 7 holes. Some people say that there is a hidden treasure. Some people say that it means perfection, or it's getting a 8-level raise. Some people say that, I counted it again, there are 8 through holes on the brush rest. It actually represents intelligence and brilliance in all situations. If you look at the bottom there are 10 holes, but 2 of the holes are not through. But from the front there are 8 through holes, and these 8 through holes symbolizes intelligence and brilliance in all situations. We talked about it before, that when there is a through hole, it means that you have thorough understanding, that you have great wisdom, that you have awakened. So that's why in the past there are sayings about 7 awakenings or 8 awakenings. The 8th awakening is wisdom. So it means wisdom. So on this very small carving of jade, there are so many symbols. And also it has a very nice waxy luster. If you look at the peaks, look how it reflects the light and shows its luster. If you put this piece with some mutton fat, you won't be able to find it. It's very difficult to distinguish it from mutton fat, and that's a quality of the mutton fat jade. So there are some russet skin on there. Then you know that it came from the river bank. And this is a piece that's from the Qing dynasty. Back in the Qing dynasty, there are many Hetian jade, so people don't need to do any treatments to fake one. After the 1900s, it's actually, especially after year 2000, there are many fake Hetian jade. This piece is from the Qing dynasty. Even at that time, it was a very nice piece. It was a treasure. Very interesting. Let me tell you about something else. Take a look. Take a look at this I'm holding. What do you think this is? Let's look at our online friends' messages. What is it? It's like a stool. It's like a bridge. Look at what's carved. It's actually bamboo. It looks like bamboo, right? There are bamboo nodes. On the bottom, it's like a bridge shaped. It's also like a stool. What is it? There is a prize if you can guess right. Some people say that it's a stool. You can use it to place books. Or some say that it's an ark. It's an ark door. Some people say that it's a chopstick rest. Some people say it's a mini pillow. Some people say that it's where you place your wrist. Some people say that it's a bridge in the shape of moon. If you reverse it, maybe you can put an egg in there so that it doesn't roll off the table. Master, could you tell us what it is? It's actually a wrist rest. But what are wrist rests used for? In the ancient Chinese, when they write on calligraphy or when they paint, the table and the piece of work is very large. And because their robes are loose, and if I'm holding the brush and I worry if my brush will shake. And so they would use this wrist rest to when they write. When you search wrist rest online, most of the time you will find some bamboo wrist rest, and they are usually arced so that it does not damage the written work beneath. Why is it so small? Because think about how much it would be if it's that large. Or maybe this is just a representative. For example, a scholar's censer may not be used to burn censer, but it would represent prosperity. And so this small jade wrist rest, maybe it's not for practical use, but it's just for appreciation. On top of the wrist rest, there are 5 bamboo shoots. I have a beautiful cup with me today. Look at this cup. On my left hand, look at my left hand, look at the bamboo. Is it bamboo? Some people say that it's a instrument. It's a musical instrument. No, it's not a musical instrument. Count how many bamboos there are. We introduced bamboo's symbolism when we talked about the bamboo brush holder. Now, if there are bamboo motif on the wrist rest, what does it mean? It means that each bamboo note symbolizes steady rising. Think about it when you graduate from year 1 to year 2. And also, if you are non-government official, your rank is rising. In the past, a rank 5 government official doesn't have as much power as the rank 4 government official. And the most powerful government official would be ranked number 1. So remember, 5 sounds similar to me in Chinese. And so it means that I am rising steadily. Also, this piece of object seems very simple, but it's complex with auspicious meanings, and it's also made with a piece of beautiful jade. So there are some people who got it right. Let me see who got it right.
还有人写蔚蓝天空，还说5条打麻将呢，还10饼呢。
Some people guess that it's a piece from mahjong game. Some people say that it's 5 children passing the exam. So in Chinese design, even the numbers make a lot of sense. I couldn't find the person who write wrist rest. This piece has so many auspicious symbols in it. And recently, many young people are into skull motifs. If you have skulls everywhere, then it brings you the chi of negative energy. How are you going to benefit from that? If you don't understand it, then it's very scary. Master, could you talk about something else? Let's continue with jade. Let's continue with nephrite jade. This is a very beautiful piece. I don't even dare to touch it because it's so beautiful. Take a look.
这么看肯定看不懂啊，我稍微动
Can
一
you
下。
understand? Can you see what it is?
它像一个变形的碟子，对不对？
It's like a small dish.
再看看它的后面哈，
Look on the
看
back.
它的后面，
What is it?
好了，眼尖的网友肯定看出来了，
Some people probably already guessed what it
是
is.
荷叶和莲花，
It is lotus flower and lotus leaf.
这是它的用的正面。这用的正面
This
是
is the
平的放
front.
的啊，
You put
有的
it
可以
flat
直
on
接
the
放些
table.
水啊，
You can
或者放点
you can
颜色
put
亮
some
书画用的一个小容器，
it's a small vessel for
它也可以
calligraphy
做
or
笔筒
painting.
也可以
You
叫
could
做
also
叫做
use it as a
书房上的那个小水
an
壶，
inkstone,
放一点点
or
水
you could use
勾
it
兑
as a
墨呀
water
把这个
vessel.
墨勾兑，就是这个东西。这个是和田碧玉或者和
This
田
is
青玉
made
这样
with Hetian green jade.
这个寓意特别好啊，
It has a very auspicious
雕刻的也
meanings.
特别好啊。
Look how translucent it is. The carving
对，
is
那
very
我现场
fine
呢
detail
用这
too.
个手电在后面
Let
照
me
一下大家
shine
看
some
一下
light with this
手
flashlight.
电在这里，现在开始
Here is a
放大
flashlight. Let's enlarge it.
手电来喽。
Here is a
你看
flashlight.
我手电没有靠近它，都是远一点，为了让
My
网友看
Because
到
I want
看
you
见
to see the details, so the
所以它
flashlight
这个玉啊
is
已经雕得
a
很
little
薄
distance away from the jade.
对，
You could
这
see
个
the
荷叶的厚
veins.
度啊，就和我们那个最厚的那个硬币的厚度。
This piece of jade carving, the thickness is about the
对，应该这
same
样看，
as
这样
a
才看到
coin.
荷花的部分。
Now you can
荷
see
花
the
在这个边
lotus.
上，
Here is the
对，
lotus.
里头这是荷叶，后
These
头造
are
成
the
那个部
lotus
分是它的
leaves.
那个荷叶的静脉。
And you can see the veins on the
就是这样。
lotus leaf.
嗯，这个雕的是非常的美。
It's
嗯，
finely
这是
carved. It's
莲
beautiful.
花和荷
Lotus
叶
flower, lotus leaf.
那古人给它起的名字到
In
底
the
叫
ancient
啥？
time, what would it be called?
网友猜一猜。如果
Take a
让你起
guess.
名字，
If you
Ah,
were
you
to
can tell.
name this piece, what would you call it?
叫大光明莲花，
Some people say
透着。
it's a translucent pure lotus. Some people say that it means having children.
好嘛，还有一网友干脆就叫荷叶莲花。
Someone named it lotus and lotus leaf.
莲生极品，
Some people say that it's.
好，
Con-
我干脆就说吧。
Let me tell you,
网友也不是有这么多知识的话，你不太懂。
if you don't have the
这个
knowledge,
就叫
if you don't
一朵
understand
青莲
it, you probably can't guess it. It's actually called a piece of 青莲.
恰如其分。
我是有它的历史的文化的一个证明哈。
There's
就是
culture
那这个
behind
花
it.
是一朵吧？
There is
荷叶
one
是一
piece of
枝嘛，
flower,
对。
right?
所以
And
叫一
one
朵青莲。
piece of
那在明代
lotus
的时候，
leaf. That's why
在
it's
明
called
代的时候，
one
因为明朝的
青莲.
皇帝，开国皇帝叫啥来着？
青莲.
朱元
In
璋。
the Ming Dynasty, the first emperor of Ming Dynasty is called Zhu Yuanzhang.
对不对？
Zhu
他就
Yuanzhang
又
was
赶上瘟
born
疫死了
into
好几口
a
人
poor
他家
family,
是佃
and
户，
he
是
grew up
没
in the
有
time of
自己土
famine,
地的人，
and
没有土地的人是
they
最穷的。
his family
这样
didn't have any
所以他
land.
的亲人死了之后都没
So
地方
after
埋了
his family
记得吧
died,
哈
he didn't even
对
have a
所以
place
呢
to bury his
他
family.
做官
And
做
so
事
when
是
he
最清
became
廉，
the emperor, he was very
他做
honest
过去做
and
农民
upright.
和做和尚的时候，
When
最
he was
恨
a
那些
farmer
贪官
and
污
when
吏
he was a
因
monk,
为官
he hated
官员刁难百姓
corrupt
啊，所以
government
他是小民
officials,
出身，恨之入骨。
and he
所以他对
hated
于
those
贪官哈 是非常用
corrupt
最严厉的手段来惩罚
officials. And so when
是非
he
常的
was
残忍的
in
手段
government,
来
he
惩罚这个
punished
贪官。
those
所以在明代
corrupted
的这
officials
个这
severely.
种艺术品创作
And
之
so
中哈
in the Ming
尤其是
Dynasty,
绘画和陶瓷
especially in
瓶子上和碟子
in
上的绘画，
paintings,
那个时候就是特别的弘扬是什么呢？
there are many
清
motifs
正
of
廉洁，
青
就
莲.
是做官一定要不贪污。
青莲 has two
不贪污
meanings.
的
The
官员
first is a pale celadon-colored lotus. And the second meaning is honest and upright government official. And take a look at this motif. This is a Ming Dynasty plate with lotus flower. This is a bunch of a bunch of lotus flowers, and it represents that I am honest and upright, and I am incorruptible. So in the Ming Dynasty, many government officials, they were very poor, and so they need a second job to support themselves, whether helping other people to write letters or helping other people to a second job as a doctor. So a regular Ming Dynasty government official would be very difficult to support themselves. They don't have a lot of savings. And that's how poor the Ming Dynasty government officials are. And because the emperor came from a poor family, that's why he advocated honesty and uprightness. When government officials are honest and upright, then the commoners can have a good life. If the normal tax rate is 20% and the government officials are corrupt, they might raise the tax to 35%. With different reasons or different ways. And this money, a large percent of that is went into the pocket of the corrupt government official. And that's why the emperor would advocate honesty and uprightness of the government officials. And so usually, the government officials who are honest and upright, they would have a very good name and they will be remembered in history. For example, Fan Zhongyan is such a government official. He held very high place, high office in the government. But in his life, he never built a house for himself. We told the story of Fan Zhongyan before. All his salary was donated to build schools and to benefit local students. He also told his children that our land should be used to benefit all the commoners, to benefit all the children. So he gave himself to the country, to the society, to the commoners. And so his quality of his honesty and uprightness was praised. He also has a very good habit. Every day before he goes to sleep, he would think about how much did I spend today? The money that I have spent today, does it correspond to the things that to the job that I have done today? If my job's contribution does not match the amount of money that I spent, then he would feel ashamed. He would feel that he did not live up to his salary. How did I do such small, petty works? I need to work harder so that I can live up to my salary. So he worked day and night and forget about himself. And he was never greedy. not only was he strict on himself, he was also very strict on his wife and his children. And he says that we only need enough to eat. They don't have any luxury things. He also valued his children's knowledge and virtue, valued their morals and ethics. He told his children that no matter what industry you do, you have to put morals and virtues first. You cannot be greedy or corrupt. One of his all his children became ministers of the government, and his family virtue passed on to several generations after his death. Even recently, even in modern days, there are great people. His descendants are doctors, architects. I remember in Suzhou, the schools that he built has passed down until today, and it is one of the best high schools in the Suzhou district. And in his family, the value passed on. If we have excess money, then we use it in education. Although he had land, he did not take a lot of tax or crops from the farmers who farmed his land. He even gave money to the farmers. And he didn't take any rentals from the farmers who rent his land. So basically, he used the land to feed the farmers, to feed the poor. And when the farm needs money, they would take money out of their own pocket, and they wouldn't ask the farmers, the commoners, to pay for anything. And so he was praised by many people. And that's why his family prospered for over 800 years. He has accumulated many merits to protect himself, protect his children and descendants. And there are many successful people from his family. Fan Zhongyan is like a bodhisattva. I'm very respectful of him. So if we are honest, if we are very upright, then I believe that your family can have this positive energy that can be passed on. Let's give Mr. Fan and the Fan family some applause. Tell us now the story. Now there's someone else that I respect myself. He is from the Ming Dynasty. His name is Yu Qian. He is a Ming Dynasty minister. He is a scholar. He was a government in local counties, and he was also a imperial minister too. When he was young, he was a fan of Wen Tianxiang. Wen Tianxiang is a very famous minister of the government. And Yu Qian wrote a poem.
那么在他这个所在当时他还是兵部的一位中层干部的时候，
At the time
发生了一件大事情。
when he was a mid-level government official, something important happened in the Ming Dynasty, that the emperor was blindsided by his attendants.
已经在永乐之后了，当时明朝国库确实很强盛，国力强盛，所以他就说，哎，我们去把什么周边那些国家都给，就是蒙那些
At the time,
咱们就去把它收了吧。
the Ming Dynasty was very strong, and
仙啊，或者是外族啊，经常也会。
And they often fought at the Ming Dynasty's borders. And one of the imperial attendants suggested to the emperor that if the emperor brought 200,000 soldiers to fight in the war, then we can definitely win. But who knew that in a place called Tumubao, 200,000 soldiers were defeated. The entire army was defeated. The emperor was captured. And the news went back to the imperial court, and there is no emperor anymore. And so the ministers made the emperor's brother to become the new emperor. And the brother didn't know if his older brother is alive or not. And when they start their day and discuss business, everybody had very low energy, and they just wanted to kill the emperor's attendant who misguided the emperor onto the battlefield. And after the emperor is captivated, they took the emperor prisoner and continued to fight with the Ming Dynasty. And the army has already surrounded Beijing area. And the enemy took the emperor as hostage and extorted the government. So the ministers, the government officials were divided. One side says that let's just give up. 200,000 soldiers have already been defeated. And there's no more soldiers in the capital. We should just surrender. Yu Qian at the time was a vice minister in the military, and he said that how could we repeat the history of Song Dynasty? How could we give away our country? We cannot be how So he spoke up in the court, and everybody became quiet. And because his words were full of positive energy, it stunned everyone. That we could not copy what happened to the Song Dynasty. We could not we should not subjugate our country. And so he was able to stun everyone and awaken the other ministers. And so they started to discuss. At the time in the imperial court, all the generals went to the battlefield with the emperor, and they have already been defeated. So in the imperial court, there was no more generals. And so they started to discuss who should become the leader. And so they suggested Yu Qian, who suggested this idea that they shouldn't give up. So he became the military general, military leader. And Yu Qian is a scholar, but he read a lot of books on military. And so he started to set up. In Beijing, there are 9 gates. There are 9 gates, and he said that we are surrounded. How should we fight back? Some military generals say that we can just stay inside the city, and if the enemy doesn't have enough food, they would have to retreat after some time. But Yu Qian, Minister Yu, was very aggressive. He says that we cannot wait. We should leave the capital and face the enemy head on. Some people say that you have never led an army before. This is your first battle, and how do you think we can do it? Yu Qian announced that at every gate there is one general, and we will all head out of the door at the same time. And so he assigned a general at each gate. And there are 9 gates. 8 of the gates were assigned a general, no matter whether they are good or not. And there's only one gate left, and that is the Desheng gate in the north. And that is the gate that's directly in front of the enemy. And he named himself the general at that gate. So he faced the enemy head on at the Desheng Men. So in the first battle, so the enemy, in the first battle with the enemy strikes the Desheng gate, and that's where Yu Qian is. Yu Qian give orders to the soldiers that we can only step forward and we cannot step backward. He told them that so all the generals are guarding outside of the gate, and he told people who are inside the capital, says that after we leave out of the gate, lock all the gates. And if there are people who step back, then kill them. If the generals do not take care of their soldiers and back away, then anyone can kill that general. Even a soldier could kill that general. So if the division in front of you starts to back down, then you can kill soldiers of that division. And so the very last gate, the very last layer is the general that is on the gate inside the city. If you see anybody back out, then you can kill. And so these 8 generals and Yu Qian, they guarded the gates. So as a gate, Yu Qian used a strategy. Yu Qian led a special forces. You could think of it as the equivalent as the U.S. Navy SEALs. But these are not the best, because the best of this division has already been sent to the battlefield with the emperor. And so these who are left over, they were not as good as the other ones. And so, but these special forces led the enemy into the residential area, and at the time, the Ming soldiers have firearms. It was more advanced than the knives that the enemy have. And when they fired those firearms, they were able to defeat the 10,000 enemy soldiers. And these were the best soldiers of the enemy. And so this victory happened at the Desheng Gate, and the enemy started to panic. And so they gave up on Desheng Gate and moved east to the Anding Gate. The general that's guarding the Anding Gate is a general who were able to survive the battlefield where the emperor was captured. And so he did his best to hold the gate and defeat the enemy. And because they knew that these 2 gates that was facing the north and was directly in front of the enemy, so they prepared themselves very well. The enemy were all riding on horses, but when they were defeated at these 2 gates, they ride their horse and moved to one of the gates at the west. The general at the west gate was not very good, and so he had a very difficult battle at the CiBeiYin Gate. And when he was defeated to the bottom, to the gate, he asked the general who was guarding the gate from inside to open the door. And the general who was guarding the west gate is called Xin. He says that Chancellor Yu has already said that if you back down, then you will be killed. Don't come back. Move forward, otherwise you'll be killed. I'll cheer for you. And so the general who's outside of the gate saw that there are soldiers and there are arrows who are pointed at them. And so they started to fight with the enemy again. He doesn't have any way out, so he can only fight with the enemy. But who knew that at the beginning they were not very confident? But when they have no way out, the soldiers and the general had a change of heart, and they were actually able to guard the gate and defeat the enemy. And so, and this battle is a very famous battle in the Ming Dynasty, in the protection of Beijing. And this battle was led by Yu Qian, a scholar. And historians say that because of Yu Qian's positive energy, it was able to prolong the Ming Dynasty for another 200 years. If it wasn't for Yu Qian, the Ming Dynasty would have already changed to another dynasty. And Yu Qian is a very honest and upright person. Let's look at this poem by Yu Qian. I'm bent and burnt. I'm not afraid of anything. I just want to live, have a good, honest name in history. So his status, he is one of the best. He is one of the best, the most remembered government official of the Ming Dynasty. But he had a very bad end, that he was framed. And people say that because he saved the Ming Dynasty, the emperor probably gave him a lot of money. But when the next emperor found a reason to get rid of him, when they went to his house, they realized that he doesn't have any money. And the soldiers who wanted to find money for themselves, they didn't find anything. And after he was killed, the emperor regretted killing this honest minister, that he shouldn't have listened to his attendants to kill Yu Qian. There's only stupid emperors and attendants who made the honest government officials more prominent. I'm touched by Yu Qian's story. And so this lotus flower, it represents that a person needs to be honest and justice. There's another symbol. It means that although you grow out of mud, but you are still pure and clean. You have to love yourself. In this world, everyone is greedy, but you have to hold your integrity. You have to protect your honesty. It's the same for self-cultivation. We have to see through the things in this world. Become a truly wise person. As a government official, you need to be honest and upright. As a commoner, you need to have good morals and filial piety. And that's the most important thing, and that's wisdom. If you do a lot of bad things, even if you are not a government official, there will be bad results. A truly wise person can grow out of mud but keep themselves clean. And so in scholarly objects, there is such objects as a qinglian, a pale lotus flower. in the process of creating a business and earning a profit is already very difficult. But if you want to keep that business running for generations, it's honesty, it's fairness that helps you to prolong your business, that makes your business prosper, that makes your business proper for hundreds of years, like the Fan Zhongyan's family. That's how you truly have wisdom and knowledge. So a piece of qinglian, that's what it means. So I hope all the students think about it when you think about your future. Don't just want to have a lot of money, but how you want to gain that wealth. Some people make money by robbing and kidnapping. But we need to be a good person. So the education of morals and ethics is very important. I hope that when you get to know these antique treasures, that you can also understand the virtues, how these virtues can educate us, how these symbols can educate us. As gentle as this jade, although the jade is expensive, but it's not competitive. It is still down to earth. So today, I really recommend this chubby pig. It's very cute, but it can give you a life of safety. So the objects that we prepared today is very interesting. There are a lot of other pieces that we don't have time to go into details to. This is a natural crystal carving of two lions. One of the lion is an imperial teacher. The other lion is the imperial teacher of the emperor's children. And crystal are inspirational. Not only does it give you inspiration, but it also means that you can achieve something very fast. This is also Hetian jade, Nephrite jade. What do you think this is? This is three sheep with russet skin. What is it? This is a Hetian jade from the river. This piece is from the Qing dynasty. When the new year comes, 3 sheep opens a bright road. It means that it's auspiciousness and peaceful. Yang means auspiciousness. In Chinese characters, auspiciousness is written with a sheep. When the divine awakens the sheep, then it becomes auspiciousness. There's something very interesting. I have to tell you about it. Look how small it is, but I have to tell you about it. What is it? This is a jade, and there are movable parts. This is a flower basket. Look at it. There are through holes, and can you see it? It's actually hollow. And the hollow opening is connected. What is it? This is a small sensor. So you can place a piece of incense, whether it's agar wood. You can put it into the basket. so that it slowly dissipates its fragrance to make you happy. This piece of jade is actually carved in one piece, including this movable part. And it's a very difficult skill to carve such a movable piece. And as you walk, the jade would move with you, with your flow. There are 3 layers of movable parts. This is also a piece of nephrite jade carving. It's very unique and a rare find. There's something else. What's in the Chinese New Year? It is the year of the ox. And look here, there is a water buffalo here. It's a red water buffalo. This is a carving of Shoushan stone. Besides the water buffalo, there are 2 herd boys. They're having fun. One of the herd boy is on top of the water buffalo. On the bottom, the yellow stone is water. Water means wealth. And the buffalo means optimism. For example, on the stock market, if it's a bullish market, means that the market is rising. And so it's a rising stock market. And in India, buffaloes are divine. People cannot eat beef, and you cannot hurt a buffalo. So there is 1 water buffalo and 2 child. It's very well carved. The combination of red and yellow is very, it gives a very happy tone. This is also a Shoushan stone carving that's enlarged. Can you see it? These are tadpoles. These are the babies of a frog. What about on the side? These are frog larvae. The larvae will grow into tadpoles, and the tadpoles will develop into a frog. It means many children, many fortune. The tadpoles are red. When you look at it with your naked eye, it's very red. It's like the red bricks. It's very beautiful. On the bottom, the lotus leaf is yellow, and these colors are all natural. Master has so many interesting treasures. How about this? This is black. This is a Shoushan stone carving. It is a type of Shoushan stone. It's called black gold stone. I call this black gold dragon. This type of Shoushan stone is very rare, and this large golden dragon fish is very well carved. Master, in front of you, there are 2 large animals. These are rhinoceros. Let's call them the gold rhinos. These are Asian rhinos. rhinos. This is a rhino from Asia.
更昂贵，但现在呢，真正的这个犀牛都已经快绝种了。
There are very few Asian rhinos nowadays. These are living treasures.
这个牛呢，就是非常的有特点哈。
These rhinos are very unique.
忠诚。
They are
这个雄伟。
They are powerful.
富贵。
They represent a fortune.
所以呢，它呢能够镇宅。
So it can protect your home. Because it's a type of bovine, it's actually a herbivore. Although it's a herbivore, but it has a lot of strength. In some of the documents, you can see when rhinos go wild, it could topple over a large jeep. So it has a lot of strength. And usually even lions and tigers are afraid of rhinos. All the rhino's energy are focused on its horn, on the horn in front of its nose. A lot of animals' horns are on top of the head, but the rhino's horn is growing on top of its nose. In the ancient times, there is a saying says that hearts can be linked together through the magic thread of the rhino horn. Why is the rhino called Xi in Chinese? I didn't look it up in the dictionary. From what I understand, Xi means inspirational, so that the hearts are connected. When two people are in love, or if they are connected by a family, that they can feel what each other is feeling. Say that if someone you love, something happens to them, then you have a feeling about it. It's very important. For example, in twins, usually twin siblings have inspirations about each other. And true lovers, they have inspirations about what the other person is feeling. So, rhinoceros is a very important animal. Also, it's a herbivore. But it doesn't have any fur. Its body is covered in armor, and it looks very large and powerful. So it's a natural general. It's a natural military general. It's very strong and powerful. Ever in historical legends, rhino has been described as a benevolent animal, and it represents excellence and auspiciousness. In medicinal point of view, in traditional Chinese medicine, everything can be used as a medicine. A rhino horn has a very special medicinal use. It can calm the mind and calm the spirit. It can also reduce fever and detoxifies poison. And these effects are very well known. It can also cool the blood, calm the blood. I read before that people use rhino horns to make it into libation cup. And if someone is having a seizure, then if you pour some water into the rhino horn cup and have the person who's having the seizure drink it, then that person can be stabilized in a short time. Also, the rhino horn can also suppress cancer. Although we're talking about the medicinal use of rhino horns, these medicinal uses were discovered in the ancient times. As the ancient times, people try to find different materials to treat themselves. But nowadays, in modern days, we know that if there are only humans on the earth, then we will extinct one day too. But nowadays, Asian rhinos there are fewer and fewer rhino horns, and so we should protect the rhinoceros, and we should stop rhino poaching and stop buying rhino materials and goods. And people have already found different medicine that can be used to replace rhino horn medicine. Usually, if you are living in the city, it's difficult for you to find a rhino. But everyone should know that it's their responsibility to stop it. Rhino is a sign of auspiciousness. If there are more of it living today, then it's an auspiciousness to every one of us. 2 years ago, I knew that the year of the ox is coming. People would probably want to have items that are related to the ox that can help them to change their energy, change their feng shui, change their fortune. And so I thought about buffaloes, but they are very common, so I picked rhinos. So I found people who carved rhino on wood, and it looked beautiful when it's placed on the table. And so I decided to make these rhinos with bronze. We made There are only 360 rhinos that are available, and there are only so that's 180 pairs of rhinos. These rhinos are made by bronze. It's very heavy and it looks very vivid, but the shortcoming is that when the environment is very humid, then there will be oxidations and rust. And these are available on CiBeiYin.com, and they are already available online. And because these are very heavy, so we suggest if you live in Asia, then purchase it in Asia, CiBeiYin.com. If you live in North America, then purchase it from North American CiBeiYin.com. We can sell these rhinos are available in pairs or in singles.
好，那这个犀牛的这个部分呢？
All right. So that's it for the rhinos. The rhinos are the quantities are very limited because it's very heavy and large. So I didn't want to make too many, and many people might not like it because it looks very different. So we didn't make a lot, and maybe it might not be able to fulfill all your. So if you like it, then get started now. And so it will be first come, first serve. It's very heavy, so it's very difficult to ship. I suggest you to place it on your study desk or on the sides of your altar or in front of your treasure vase. It can help you to protect your home. And also, if in the feng shui there is a direct offense, then you can use it to get rid of that energy. And depends on what you need in your family. If you just want your family to have to accumulate wealth, then make sure that the rhinos faces your living room. If you want to ward off evil, then the rhino's head should be directed as a door. So depending on your need, then the rhinos are placed differently. All right, we talked a lot today. Is there anything else? I want to remind everyone that Chinese New Year is coming. That if you have a wish for the New Year, you can write to us. You can write emails to us, or record your prayers on our prayer list. And we will offer these prayers in front of the Buddha for blessings. Previously, I have gifted lights to people who have made a purchase in CiBeiYin.com who have made a sponsor to Rinpoche, Guru Rinpoche. And these lights have already been lighted in our Medicine Buddha Hall. And the prayer registrations are free for everyone. In Bodhi Meditation Vancouver Center, there are many ancient Buddhas and ancient Tankas, and there is a blessing from the four-armed Guanyin Bodhisattva and from Medicine Buddha. So your prayers will be offered in front of the Buddha so that you can be blessed by the Buddha for your upcoming year to be auspicious and peaceful. Thank you, everyone. Master, the New Year is coming, and everyone is probably thinking when the next live session is. I am very happy. I'm very happy to spend more time to communicate with you in the Chinese New Year. In Vancouver time, on the 29th day of the 12th lunar month, that will be February 10th, Wednesday, at 6 p.m. There will be a live session. I have not decided what the content will be. But this day will also be the 30th day of the lunar 12th month. And that's in Asia, that's already Chinese New Year. But what should we do? Let me think about it. If you have time, then join us. Maybe there will be a lot of good things happening. How many days there are? 3 or 4 days. Just 4 days. So in 4 days, we'll celebrate.
亚洲时间
In Asia, it is the 30th day of the 12th lunar month, 10 a.m. on Thursday, February 11th. So you can be at home, cleaning your home, preparing for Chinese New Year, and join me online. But in North America, it will be the 29th day of the 12th lunar month. That is on February 10th, Wednesday at 6 p.m. I welcome everyone to join me online, although I haven't decided what we will do. Alright, so that's all for today. I wish everyone, may your wishes come true. May you be happy. Let's meet again. Let's meet again on Chinese New Year Eve. Thank you, everyone.
小的红点里，人生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点里，人生变得神奇。我智慧了，我宽容了，我慈悲了，我自在了。因为有了你，生命变得更坚定，不忧忧无虑。因为有了你，日子不再有哭泣，不再有恐惧。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。 生就此欢喜。我快乐了，我健康了，我幸福了，我美丽了。在茫茫人海之中，让我与你相遇。小小的红点滴，人生变得神奇。我只会